Hello friends, we're back with another story. Today I wanted to talk about our reading genres before we get started. Last week we did a historical fiction book about the two girls that lived close to each other back in Dr. Martin Luther King's time. That was called The Other Side, where they needed to realize that they could be friends. It doesn't matter what they look like. So when we look at our reading genres or groups of books, types of books, we can see that there's books that are science fiction or informational, poetry books, biographies, that's books about people, autobiographies, historical fiction. So that is the type of book we read last week. This week, there's mysteries and traditional literature and realistic fiction and fantasy. This week we're working with fantasy books. Each week I'm going to try to pick a different genre now that we're finished with our Show Me Award books, which, by the way, I'll let you know who wins once all the votes are counted for all the kids in Missouri, so it'll be a while. But our story this week is fantasy, so that's the genre or group or type of book it is. The title of my story today is called Black Dog. Black Dog. I need to get that ring out of there so we don't have that. Look. Okay, well, that ring will go as soon as we get started. Black Dog is a fantasy story because the story gets bigger than life. The people in the story, they let their imagination get the best of them and worry too much sometimes. You ever do that when you hear about something and you worry about, what's going to happen? And you start to make things bigger than they really are. You don't have to be so worried. Well, that's kind of where this story leads us. Do you see the paw print? Do you see how big that paw print is in the snow there? If you saw that paw print, you would be pretty afraid, wouldn't you, of what's out there in the woods? I think the family in this house is a little bit afraid too. My author is Levi Pinfold. He's the author and illustrator. Sorry, I'm trying to keep us from having shade, but still not have that ring. Let's try to go upside down. There, maybe that'll give us more light. Sorry about that. Okay, so here we go. Black Dog. This story, the author is from England. That's a country far, far away. And they speak English, but some of their words are a little bit different. They'll talk about Big Jeffy in here, and that's a tourist-like place to go to and visit. It's a big elephant. So you'll notice that in here. They say, what is that? Here we go. Oh, I also like to talk about the illustrator. I thought it was amazing how he's the author and illustrator, but he did all these little boxes to kind of give you a view of different things that are going on. Also, when you look at the pictures, you'll notice all the real big detail. Do you see the eyes here? Like something's looking in, and a nose. And all the shadowing. Like when he painted this or drew it, he made sure to show the shadow of the dresser or counter there. You'll see a lot of that shadowing, and it really makes it look real, like the lights look like they're glowing. So I find that it's a really, really nice illustrated book. Here we go. One day, a black dog came to visit the Hope family. Mr. Hope was the first to see it. "Oh, my goodness," he cried, dropping his toast. He didn't waste any time in calling the police. "There's a black dog the size of a tiger outside of my house," he told the policeman. The policeman laughed. "What should I do?" asked Mr. Hope. "Don't go outside," said the policeman. And he put down the phone. Oh, goodness. This lighting situation's driving me crazy. So he sees him. He thinks he just seems to be very big to him. Maybe that's telling him a little bigger than he really is. Mrs. Hope was next to get up. "Oh, my goodness," she cried, dropping her mug of tea. She didn't waste any time in calling for Mr. Hope. "Did you know there's a black dog the size of an elephant outside?" "Yes," said Mr. Hope. "What should we do?" asked Mrs. Hope. "Turn out the lights so it doesn't know we're here," said Mr. Hope. They're hiding on the staircase. There's just so much to see in these pictures. Give you a little time. Adeline Hope was next to get up. My goodness, she cried, dropping her toothbrush. She didn't waste any time in calling for her parents. Did you know there's a black dog the size of a Tyrannosaurus Rex outside? Yes, said Mr. and Mrs. Hope together. What should we do? Asked Adeline. Close the curtains so it can't see us. Do you see its eyes in the window? I like how they made the mirror really look like a mirror, like you're seeing the opposite. The light looks like it's glowing. Some really, really, really good artwork. Maurice Hope was next to get up. My goodness, he cried, dropping his teddy bear. He didn't waste any time in calling for the family. Did you know there's a black dog the size of Big Jeffy outside? Oh, that's a Big Jeffy, asked Adeline Hope. Oh, never mind. What should we do? Demanded Maurice Hope. Hide under the covers, they all wailed. They all yelled. Do you see it out his window? What looks like the hair of a black dog? It was then that the youngest member of the Hope family, called Small for short, noticed that there was something going on. What are you all doing under there? We're hiding from the black dog, they whispered. Oh, you are such sillies, said Small, opening the front door. Oh, don't go out there, cried her family. The hound will eat you up. It'll munch your head. It'll crunch your bones. But Small went anyway. She doesn't have any fear. She hasn't made any decisions about this animal just because he's big. But they all have, huh? In their view, he's really big. All these dark lines are like shadows of his fur from the sunlight shining on it across the front of their house. Outside, the black dog leaned down toward her and breathed. Golly, you are big, said Small. What are you doing, you guffin? The black dog snuffed at her. Does that nose almost look wet the way they painted it? Yeah, almost looks like you could touch it and it'd be wet right there. She's a very little girl, so any big dog is going to seem very big to her. All right, then, she said. If you're going to eat me, you'll have to catch me first. And with that, she scurried into the lowering trees, and as she ran, she made up a song. You can't follow where I go unless you shrink, oh, don't you know? The black dog followed. As Small hurried toward the frozen pond, under the little bridge and over the ice, she sang, Your paws are thick, ice is thin, a great big dog just might fall in. And the black dog followed. Next, she scuttled through the playground, down the slide, and around the merry-go-round, singing, You might be big, I may be small, but I'm not afraid of you at all. And still, the black dog followed. Finally, Small had run all the way back to the house. You'll find out why they all hide if you follow me inside. And with that, Small tumbled into her warm home through the cat flap. She really was that small. And so, by now, was the black dog. So he wasn't as big as everybody was imagining. They were getting too worried. He fits in the cat flap. It's like a doggy door, a cat door. Inside, Small grabbed a laundry basket, and as the black dog scrambled in behind her, she covered him with a loud "Ha!" Just then, the rest of the Hope family popped up from behind their barricade. "You haven't been munched," cried Mrs. Hope. "You haven't been crunched," cried Mr. Hope. "You haven't been eaten," yelled Maurice Hope, missing a poetic opportunity. "But where's the black dog?" asked Adeline. Without a word, Small lifted the basket. "He's not that big." Look at their faces like, "Oh, that's not so bad. We got so worried about something we didn't need to worry about." The rest of the Hope family was extremely pleased to see that the black dog was neither as huge nor as scary as they had feared. "He doesn't seem fierce at all, now that I really look at him," said Mr. Hope. The rest of the family agreed. "We were silly," said Adeline. "Only Small knew the right thing to do." Everyone was quiet for a while, thinking about how brave Small had been. "You've got a lot of courage facing up to that big, fearsome thing like that," said Mrs. Hope. "There was nothing to be scared of, you know," replied Small Hope, as she went to sit by the fire, and the black dog followed. And that's the end of our story. So sometimes we get worried about many things, whether it's a black dog or a test, or whether a friend's going to like us and want to play with us tomorrow. Sometimes we let our worries get bigger than they need to be. And I think that's the idea in the story, is to work things out before you get too upset or worried about things. And that's what little Small Hope there was willing to do. And all the rest of them were like, "Oh, we were so silly." I hope you enjoyed that story, Black Dog. We'll see you soon.